Good morning. Today is Sunday, July 16th, 2023. Last Thursday night, I omitted something due to time, but it's important, and I'd like to share it with you now. We were discussing the laws of kashrut, which came from yesterday's Torah portion, that require us, in order to keep kosher, to have separate utensils and dishes and silverware for meat and dairy. It's not enough to keep the food separate. The utensils also have to be separate, and we discussed that last Thursday night. We also discussed how eating even an inherently kosher food that is prepared in a non-kosher place will render that food non-kosher because it has come into contact with non-kosher utensils. So even if a person goes to a non-kosher restaurant and simply orders fish or salad, that is going to be a problem, not in accordance with keeping kosher. And if a person goes to a vegetarian restaurant, even a vegan restaurant, if it's not under kosher supervision, it is simply not going to be kosher. All of that is correct. We discussed that on Thursday night. At the same time, I realize that Jews who keep kosher have many different standards that they use. And there are Jews who keep kosher at home, but who eat out at non-kosher places. Rabbi Riskin jokes concerning these people, their dishes will go to heaven. But there's a very important principle in Jewish law, and it applies not only to kashrut, it applies globally to every area of Jewish law. Jewish practice is not an all or nothing affair. And this applies, again, globally. A number of years ago, I spoke at ADATH about keeping Shabbos. And I recognize that many people who come drive on Shabbos. So it's very important for me to say, I'm an Orthodox Jew, I'm an Orthodox rabbi. The goal that we have is to encourage people to observe Shabbos fully and to not drive to shul or anywhere else. And the and is very, very important, and everyone who comes, regardless of how they come, will be welcomed and appreciated and respected and never looked down upon or belittled, God forbid, in any way. But then I made a suggestion. I said, if you do drive on Shabbos, perhaps don't turn on the radio. I can understand if a person drives on Shabbos and they've done it their whole life. It's hard to stop. It's a big change in lifestyle. However, turning on the radio in your car is a separate violation of Shabbos. And it's not so hard to drive without the radio. So every step that you take of not violating Shabbos is a mitzvah. And there is a benefit to small, gradual changes over time. Start with not listening to the radio, and then proceed slowly, step by step. It can lead to complete observance. And even if it never leads to complete observance, even if a person stays like that for the rest of their life, every step that we take is valuable. Every prohibition that we do not violate, any way that we minimize any infraction, by itself is a mitzvah. And we should try to find that and do that, especially if it's not so difficult. So I want to share with you a remarkable story that I heard from Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson. It's about Rabbi Dovid Trenk, a blessed memory, an outstanding Jewish educator who passed away a few years ago. He was the principal of a yeshiva high school, a high school for religious Orthodox boys in New Jersey. So there was a boy in this school I will call him Reuven, that's not his name. And this boy, Reuven, he stopped keeping Shabbos. And he was quite mischievous and wild. One Friday night, he managed to break into the school. Obviously, the school is closed on Shabbos. He managed to break into the school, and he broke into the principal's office, Rabbi Trenk's office. And the keys to Rabbi Trenk's car were on his desk. He had left his car there over Shabbos. He knew that Rabbi Trenk did not need his car for the next 24 hours because it was Shabbos. Rabbi Trenk wasn't driving anywhere. So he took the keys, he went to the parking lot to Rabbi Trenk's car, and he opens the car. Now another boy sees him and says to him, "Where are you going?" And Reuven says, "I'm going to the movies. Friday night. I'm going to the movies." So this other boy, not too far behind Reuven, says, "Take me with you. I also want to go to the movies." So now Reuven was willing to break Shabbos for himself, but he was not willing to have on his conscience that he drove somebody else breaking Shabbos. So Reuven says, No, I'm not taking you with me." And this boy says, "If you don't take me with you, I'm going to go tell Rabbi Trenk right now what you did." And Reuven says, "Please go tell him. I don't want to be in this school. I don't belong here. I'm only here because my parents forced me to be here. I want to get kicked out. Please go tell Rabbi Trenk." Okay. Friday night, Shabbos night, and Reuven drives away in the car. The other boy did what he said. He walked a short distance to Rabbi Trenk's home and told Rabbi Trenk what Reuven had done. Rabbi Trenk said to him, "Where did he go?" "To the movie theater." "Where is this movie theater?" And the boy gives him the address. But the boy says to Rabbi Trenk, "It's very, very far. If you walk, it's Shabbos. If you walk there, it's going to take you a long, long time." And it was Friday night, and it was a cold winter night in New Jersey. Rabbi Trenk said, "Thank you, but I'm going." And he put on a heavy coat. And he walks. It takes over an hour. And he comes to this movie theater. So he says to the woman at the entrance, the cashier, he says, "I want to go inside, but I'm not going to watch a movie, and I'm not carrying any money. So would you let me come in without paying any money? I'm not going to watch a movie. I just need to find someone. It's very important. It's someone who's close to me. Just please let me in. Please let me in." So the woman says, "I can't do that. If you don't pay, you can't come in." So Rabbi Trenk says to her, "Listen, just look at me for a second. You recognize I have a beard. I'm wearing a black coat, a black hat. You see that I'm a rabbi. You know that it's Friday night at Shabbos. What do you think that I'm doing here in a movie theater? You understand I'm not going to watch a movie. I really need to find this person, and I'm just going to be there for a few minutes. Please, please let me in. It's very important." So the woman says, okay. And she lets him in. So he goes inside this theater, and it's a theater with many different movies showing in different rooms. And so Rabbi Trenk has to go into each one, and of course it's dark, and of course he has to be quiet, not to disturb the other people, and he's looking for this boy, his student. He's looking for Reuven. It's not easy, and he goes from room to room. Finally, he comes to the theater, and he sees that Reuven is sitting watching a movie. And Rabbi Trenk walks very quietly, and he sits down in the empty seat beside Reuven. Now, Reuven is concentrating on the movie, but after a moment, he senses that there's someone new sitting next to him, and he turns his head. Just try to imagine that moment, please. I mean, the worst nightmare for a yeshiva boy watching a movie in a theater on a Friday night is to see your principal, your rabbi, your teacher, whose car you stole, is sitting beside you watching the movie next to you. And he's apoplectic. So Reuven is about to explode, and he turns to Rabbi Trenk, and he's whispering, because it's a movie, but he's whispering like shouting, whispering, What are you doing here? And Rabbi Trenk says, I came to talk to you. So Reuven says, what do you want to tell me? And Rabbi Trenk says, I wanted to tell you as follows. The popcorn that they sell in this movie theater, it's not kosher. You're probably going to want to buy a snack to enjoy while you're watching the movie. You may want to get soda and candy. So just know that the popcorn is not kosher. So enjoy the movie, eat a snack, but please, just don't buy the popcorn. And then he says to Reuven, I love you. And he kissed him. And Rabbi Trenk got up and he walked out. He passes the woman, the cashier, says, thank you, I'm leaving, I'm finished, and he starts walking home. A few minutes later, Rabbi Trenk senses that there is someone walking behind him, and he turns around, and it's Reuven. And Reuven says to Rabbi Trenk, I'm not going to let you walk all the way home alone. I'm walking with you. And Rabbi Trenk says, that's wonderful, let's walk together. And the entire walk home, over an hour, Rabbi Trenk did not say a word to Reuven about what he did, about the movie, about Shabbos. All he did the whole way home was tell jokes and stories. They reached their neighborhood, and they were parting ways, each one to go home. Rabbi Trenk gave Reuven a kiss. He said to him, have a beautiful Shabbos, and I hope to see you tomorrow, and I love you very much. Reuven, who told this story, said, at that moment I knew that I was staying in this school and that I would never violate Shabbos again. Step by step, and every step counts. My friends, I wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.